What's good, YouTube? It's Team Moonex here, and we are with Tony giving us his very thoughtful, insightful, and broken deck profile of his Genesis deck. Tony, what have you been playing?
Yeah, so I've been playing Radiant Typhoon. I actually really thought these cards were cool before Genesis format became like a thing that Konami was doing. So I was picking up the cards, and then Genesis format just made this deck so much better. So I've been playing it. It's really strong, and I feel like the games that I lose a lot of time are actually due to like me not sequencing things correctly. So I know that this list is really good, and the deck is just really strong in general. So I just wanted to give you my thoughts and kind of my quick list.
Okay, and then before we get into the profile, like, what are just some quick thoughts you have on Genesis format, since I know we haven't covered it too much on the channel yet?
So, okay, for those of you who like don't already know this, I'm kind of normally the media guy for Moonex. I don't play advanced at a really high level. I kind of just mess around at locals with my friends. So Genesis is actually really refreshing for a player like me who may not take advanced as seriously, but can kind of put a little bit more time and effort into Genesis, and it's a little bit more of a casual format. Not to say that it's not as competitive as advanced, because I do think over time it will become more competitive, but there's just more space to brew. And if you're someone who's been playing for like a really long time, having knowledge of the card pool gives you a really strong innate advantage of playing maybe some older decks that were like close to meta contention or have meta contention in the past, but are now kind of more viable in Genesis than they are in advanced.
Cool. All right, well, show us the list.
So, really simple ratios. It's 3 Eldam. He's a special summon if your opponent controls no spell or traps, and then he searches you one of the small Radiant Typhoon monsters. This is the other half of that starter setup. This is Swen, so he does the exact same thing, but he searches you a spell or trap instead of one of the small monsters. The last level 3 that we run is Megala. It's a special summon, again, if your opponent controls no spell or traps, or all these special summon themselves if you have Mystical Space Typhoon in your graveyard. And if you activate a quick play spell that's a Radiant Typhoon card while he's on the field, you special summon one of the big Radiant Typhoon monsters. So a lot of times like this plus a quick play will get you into Radiant Typhoon Pro Se, which is probably the best searcher. It adds a Radiant Typhoon spell or trap or a Mystical Space Typhoon from your graveyard. I believe you can also add monsters, but 99% of the time, it's Radiant Typhoon card. 99% of the time in the lines that I've played, you're going to search a spell or trap. And a lot of the times it actually comes up that it is MST playing into boards. This is, I just call it Big Bird. It's Phonics, the Great Flame. It helps you clear boards. It special summons itself when you activate a quick play spell or trap, or a quick play spell, sorry. And then if you activate a quick play spell while it's on the field, you can return 2 cards on your opponent's field to the deck. It's also 3K, so it just, a lot of times this is what you're gonna put on the field to break boards. It's also what you're gonna put on the field to try and have interaction on your opponent's turn and win the game. This is another one of the big guys. This is the Vibrant Vortex. It's a Radiant Typhoon that says if you have MST in the graveyard, you can negate a monster effect. If you have 2 MST in your graveyard, you can negate and destroy. It's also, it's 0 attack, 3K defense, so the opposite stats of the Phonics, but it's a huge wall to put up on your opponent's turn to try and get it back to your turn to then like finish them off. So a lot of times turn 1, you're ending on this guy. This is the other half of the deck. This is the Runic cards. So I play 3 Fountain. I was playing 2 and 3 Pot. I decided that Pot of Greed was too much of a point sink, and I wanted to play some hand traps and things in the side deck, so I actually bumped this up to 3 and then cut the Pot down to 2. So it's been good so far. You know, I mean, Runic Fountain is not a newcomer to the game, so really strong, adds a draw engine, lets you play on your opponent's turn. 3-tip, it lets you search, and a lot of times the fact that it's a quick play comes up because Droll is super relevant in Genesis format, just like it is in Advanced. So searching with one of your Radiant Typhoon cards and then playing this in a response to a Droll, a lot of times just lets you survive or push to try and win the game. 3 Freezing Curses, it's just effect negation. It's really strong, and it triggers all your card effects because it's a quick play spell. 3 Flashing Fire, same thing. It's removal, and it triggers all your Radiant Typhoon monsters because it's a quick play spell. Destruction. I was not sure how I felt about Destruction in the beginning of this deck like format exploring this because we have access to MST, we have access to so much other removal and engine, but back row is super prevalent in Genesis format right now. A lot of times because Radiant Typhoon is the best deck, you're going to be playing mirror matches into a lot of back row. So this and then triggering more removal from your Radiant Typhoon cards is like very good, and I would not play less than 2. 2 Slumber, I feel like this is by far the worst Radiant Typhoon card, but a lot of times it just helps you keep up your big bodies, keep them from being destroyed, keep them from being removed, and like worst case scenario, you set it and you trigger their effects on your opponent's turn because it's a quick play spell. This is honestly like a really big reason to play the deck because you don't have any points committed in the Runic cards or in the Radiant Typhoon cards. You can just play Pot of Greed. It's 60 points, but resolving sometimes 1 or 2 Pot of Greed, your opponent might just like scoop on the spot. It's just that good, starting the game with more cards than your opponent. I play 2 MST. I started out playing 1, but it's actually really nice to see in your opening hands a lot of times going second, so you know, worthwhile. And then going first, a lot of the spells have the effects to set themselves if they're destroyed by a Mystical Space Typhoon, so you can actually chain it to your own Radiant Typhoon cards to get into the graveyard to turn on your Radiant Typhoon effects. 3 Chant and 3 Vision. These are the Radiant Typhoon spells you're going to search for the most. There is other Radiant Typhoon spells, but a lot of times we don't play them because these are just like higher quality and we'd rather see the Runic cards. So Vision is a draw. It's a Lure of Darkness, very similar to Lure of Darkness for your quick play spells. It's a draw 2 and then discard 1 quick play spell. If you cannot discard the quick play spell, you discard your entire hand. And then it also has the secondary effect to add Mystical Space Typhoon from the deck to your hand. And then Chant is very similar to Reinforcement of the Army, but for your Radiant Typhoon cards. The fact that it's a quick play again is like super relevant because you can chain it to Droll. So, you know, adding this off of Swen and then your opponent goes to Droll you, you chain this, you can add Eldan or add Megala. Really strong. And then it also adds Mystical Space Typhoon from the deck of Graded Entry, just like the Vision. Last card in the main deck is Radiant Typhoon Mandate. It is a little bit of like a mini Runic Fountain. You can put back 3 quick play spell cards and then draw a card. You can also have an attack boost for your wind monsters. So it's also removal when you activate Mystical Space Typhoon. Target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, negate its effects. So again, like it does a lot. You just want to have it up when you're trying to interact with your opponent, and you're going to use those effects interchangeably. All 3 of them come up.
Then before we get to like the Asher deck, what's your opinion on like playing the Runic cards as opposed to just playing this deck pure? Like, do you have like a certain reason why you like the Runic cards more? Or?
So I'm going to be honest, I haven't played a lot of the pure deck yet. It's something that I might look into, but for right now, the Runic cards being free in the Genesis point systems just seems way too strong, and the ability to interact on your opponent's turn without paying any points for hand traps seems way stronger than like trying to set Droplet or, you know, playing something that is just not going to get you as much card advantage as drawing cards off of Runic Fountain and banishing cards from the top of your opponent's deck. So I'm playing the Runic cards just because they read better than I think the pure version of the deck, but I do think in the future, you know, there could be scenarios where the pure version of the deck is a little bit stronger.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the extra then.
So extra deck, I bounced around quite a bit with the cards in here, and I'll just kind of explain as I go, but to be honest, there's only a few cards that come up in the extra deck very often. The 2 biggest ones are Cicada King and Totem Bird. Cicada King negates monster effects, Totem Bird negates spell trap effects. They're both level 3 or rank 3. They need 2 materials, so you can summon them with Eldan and Swen, which is like the most common way that you're going to get your plays going. And Totem Bird, a lot of the times going first, is like a kind of a final piece of interaction that you put on your board after you've finished your combo. And then Cicada King comes up more breaking boards if your opponent has monster interaction or you think they're sitting on interaction that they're going to special summon from their hand in the form of a monster. You can make Cicada King early and then insulate all the rest of your Radiant Typhoon plays. So those 2 come up the most often. In most games, you're going to make at least one of them, if not both. These all come up less often, but you know, very similarly, you're just playing them because they're rank 3s. kind of laying them out from like most to least used here. Breaksword is the one that's going to come up most often. It's just like good generic removal, and in clunky hands where it's maybe hard for you to get to your runic spells, this is going to be the way that you remove a lot of cards. Alucard, similar thing, and maybe you summon this when you need the body to push for game, so you don't want to tribute or destroy your own Breaksword. The Super Quantal Beast is kind of in there for the same reason. You're going to remove spell traps, but this one has a big butt, so it's 2800. This Xyz Armor Torpedo is just like letting you draw cards, and it's a 2500 body. So again, usually when you're breaking boards, if you want to keep the body on the field and you're looking for maybe one more card to push, you'll just draw, and then it's also a 2500 body. This doesn't come up very often if your opponent has like a towers or something really big. The Muzrithim Djinn, you can detach and then double the attack of one of your creatures, one of your monsters. So again, rank 3 toolbox, you're not going to use a lot of them very often just because the main deck cards are so strong and are big bodies on their own. And then the stuff that's not rank 3s, rank 6s will come up sometimes just from Crochet. Crazy Beast is back row removal. Dragonlark Perun is just like card advantage. So again, I've maybe made each of these once in the last couple weeks that I've been testing. We play 2 aggregator. One you'll use maybe to send like you would more traditionally using some cards in the side deck. But the second one you can actually hard make using the Phoenix or the other level 9, and you can send cards from the extra deck to the graveyard to kind of help break your opponent's boards. Hasn't come up a ton. You could play the generator package here because you do have some room to play with points, and you're only committing 2 points to the generator package, but so far rank 9s have not come up for me, so it just hasn't been worth testing in my opinion. And then these are targets for the side deck and the aggregator to send. So Valen, again, like hitting back row is super prevalent in this format. Lunalight does see play in Genesis format, so we have it out to the Liger Dancer, and then Garura to draw Malong to remove. You can kind of play around with what targets you like the best, but most decks that I've seen do play some form of extra deck send. And then for the side deck, because all your cards special summon themselves, if you have an MST or your opponent has no spell or traps, you can play cards like Lava Golem. This is really strong. I did test Sphere mode, but having both seemed like overkill, so just having one or the other was fine, and Lava Golem seemed like the better of the two in my opinion. Then some cards that I cut the Pot of Greed to make room for. I'm playing 3 Droll Mockboard and 2 Flawless. These are advanced All-Stars, and they're as good, if not better, in Genesis, so no explanation needed for those. A Genesis format staple, Ultimate Slayer, sending cards from your extra deck for 0 points to break your opponent's board is very good. We have lots of room in the extra deck here, so playing this is great. Only way it could be better if it was a quick play spell, but then it probably wouldn't be free, so. And then 3 Cosmic Cyclone, because as I keep saying, back row removal is very prevalent in this format, and having it be a quick play is even better. And then I play 1 more copy of MST just for like going second when I really want to make sure that I can stick bodies on board, or I think it's another important back row matchup. You know, having all these is great. So far, like I said, the deck is super strong, and a lot of the games that I end up losing, I can actually kind of go back and attribute to my own sequencing or misplays. So I think as I continue to play the deck more, the better it's going to get. So I'm really excited to explore Genesis format and play more Radiant Typhoon.
All right, cool. Thank you so much, Tony, for the deck profile, and hopefully we see some more Genesis content from you in the future.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Black Friday is live, and Dueling Guard is dropping their biggest deals of the year. Buy 2, get 1 free, plus up to 40% off qualifying products like the Player Series boxes and the 1-player playmats. Use the link at the top of the description to get an extra 15% off, exclusive only here. Whether you're grinding regionals or styling on locals, this is the perfect time to upgrade your setup before everything sells out. Dueling Guard and Team Moonox, crafted for competitors, chosen by the X.